Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and with me today, as always, is my co-host David.
What's up, guys?
Today we've got a little bit of a return to form because we finally found something to watch, or rather, I found something to watch and forced David to watch it for this episode. So we're going to talk about that. First things first, though. Let's talk about this. I think this guy has taken up more of our news time over the last few episodes than anybody else has. We have three articles on Elon Musk this time. The guy just keeps digging himself into a hole. After this whole Twitter buyout thing, nobody paid attention to him up until that, but because he went and stuck his neck out there and bought Twitter, now everything he does is being watched.
Yep, it's all poison.
Even more so than it was before.
It's all poison. He has the worst case of athlete's tongue I've ever seen. He just constantly has that foot in his mouth. He's got to have a foot fetish or something.
First thing that we've got on the docket for him is news that he faked, or Tesla faked, under his command, their 2016 video about their self-driving when they were first announcing it. He said in an email, "Just want to be absolutely clear that everyone's top priority is achieving an amazing autopilot demo drive. Since this is a demo, it's fine to hardcode some of it, since we will backfill production code later in an over-the-air update." Musk saw little wrong with the strategy, saying, "I will be telling the world what this car will be able to do, not that it can do this upon receipt." But instead of making this clear, the video, released to the world via Musk's Twitter account, instead opens with the white text on black background telling the viewer that the person in the driver's seat is only there for legal reasons. He is not doing anything. The car is driving itself, which seems like the most amazing thing in the world until you realize that it's all BS.
I don't know what to do with this guy anymore. I really don't. He's just giving
I hope this is breaking some people out of the notion that this guy is a genius when he is in fact a moron with a lot of money.
I don't know that they care. And that is like, I hope you're right.
That's even worse.
But I don't know that people care. I really don't. Because they see what he does, and they don't... It's the same blind eye that they do with other companies that have done arguably worse stuff than that in the past, or continue to... They create these walled gardens like Apple, or they go... There's been a few examples of not following a trend that we are establishing here. The whole Activision Blizzard blow-up was somebody realizing, oh god, this guy is actually really, really bad, and they did something about it. But there's countless of other examples where they just don't seem to care. And I'm afraid that he's in that limelight where they just don't seem to care. What he does, they still gobble up anything, and it's scary. But I hope you're right. I hope people do wake up.
I mean, there's gonna be some people that look at this and think, oh, he was doing it. It's a company. It's capitalism. Who cares? Which is the same kind of thinking pattern that got us our wonderful president in 2016. Because he was a businessman who had business sense and instead ran this country into the ground.
I don't know. I feel like that at some point there might be an awakening, but right now I don't see it happening.
It's hard to say, man. I don't even know at this point. All right, let's move on to the next Musk topic. What did he do this time?
Oh, what has he not done? Back to Twitter and all things in its glory. They are retroactively changing the developer agreement to ban third-party clients, meaning no more third-party apps. You get the Twitter app or you use the Twitter website, and that is it. You have no other options. So why would we want to do this? Probably ads. is my best guess. You can't force
Probably,
people to
yeah.
look at ads if a third party app doesn't have ads.
It's so easy to circumnavigate ads at this point, though, even on your phone. I know everybody on like TikTok, if you're on the tech side of it, has seen this. You literally just have to go into your settings and add a private DNS, and you can block all of the ads on your phone. It takes 2 seconds. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm not 100% sure if you can do this on iOS, but all you have to do, if you're on the latest version of Android, is go to the settings, go to your internet. You could probably just search for it in the settings, DNS, and it'll pop it up. There's three options. There's no DNS, there's like automatic DNS, and then there's private DNS, which you can type an actual DNS address into. Uh, and the DNS that you want to add, I believe, is dns.adguard.com or something like that. Hold on, I'll tell you for real because I still have it in my phone. It's dns.adguard.com. If I get a website with real bad ads, I turn it on and then I refresh the page and it makes it 10 million times better. But
I wonder I wonder if that's a way to circumnavigate those. You must have a subscription to view. You only get like 2 or 3 free articles a month from said newspaper. I wonder if that circumnavigates that.
that I don't think it works on. But you can get there. I think it's an unpaywall or something like that. I still have it installed here. Unpaywall, yeah. You can download that to your internet browser. Don't know if they have an app or not, or a plugin for your internet browser on your phone. But if you're on your computer, it should be a Chrome extension. I know it's on Firefox, because I'm on Firefox. On paywall, you download that. You can browse any newspaper without having to worry about their stupid little subscription.
Mm,
To read more, you can read the articles in full. It's so nice. I I've had it installed this whole time. I don't know if I've ever run into an article that I've had to circumnavigate because it's just on all the time.
got it. Oh,
So,
wow.
anyways, yeah, it's probably an ad thing.
How did we get there? How did we get there? Oh goodness gracious! But yeah, that's what's happening. So I don't I don't
I
know if
never
there's.
used.
I never did. I hate Twitter as it is. I don't
Yeah,
get on it like ever.
I am not nearly as active on it as I used to be.
You used to be way more active than I was, but yeah. So I don't know if there's ever a good third-party app for Twitter that I would have liked. I just didn't like Twitter, so yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, Twitter's. It's not a good time to get into Twitter and anymore anyway.
yeah. Well,
So, speaking of Twitter, looming Twitter interest payment leaves Musk with unpalatable options. It's from Ars Technica, as much of our uh, articles are from. So, uh, he finances $44 billion deal to take Twitter private, but in October by securing the huge debt from a syndicate of banks led by Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Barclays, and Mitsubishi. Okay. The $13 billion debt. The $13 billion debt is held by Twitter at a corporate level with no personal guarantee by Musk. Since the takeover, Musk has raced to cut costs, such as firing half the company's staff, while seeking new revenue streams, such as launching its Twitter Blue subscription service, which I don't even know if they're doing anymore. Uh,
nobody does.
how Musk deals with the looming interest payment is a crucial test of his Twitter leadership at Twitter, which has so far been marked by chaotic management that has alienated its corporate advertisers. This company is like you're working on a plane that is headed towards the ground at high speed with the engines on fire and the controls don't work. Twitter did not make its first interest payment. It would join a small but notorious club of companies dubbed the NCAA by debt traders, short for no coupon at all. That includes current U.S. car rental company Hertz and German payments company Wirecard. Interesting.
Oh boy.
Such default on its debt would probably result in Twitter's management filing for bankruptcy, at which point the U.S. courts would begin an expensive and bureaucratic debt restructuring process. Musk could avoid this fate by settling the interest on Twitter's dwindling cash or selling more of the equity in company to fund payments, both painful options. The business has a cash position of about $1 billion, Musk has said. He also warned that its net cash outflow could be about $6 billion next year without additional cost saving measures. Rising interest rates mean the debt will become more and more expensive. At the same time, Twitter's enterprise value has been damaged. I was reading earlier. I believe the valuation of Twitter right now is around $15 billion.
And he bought it for
44
billion.
Yep.
So we're talking, in the span of just a few months, a quarter of its value. Well, not quite a quarter. It'd be 60 million, but like a third,
roughly
of
33%.
A third of its fucking valuation. It's left. He's devalued it 2/3 of its value in a few months.
Does that really surprise you? I told you he's a moron with a lot of money.
No, it does not surprise me at all. I mean, I just don't understand what the hell he was thinking to begin with. Like, it was well known that they had these issues beforehand.
He wanted it to become some stupid free speech bastion. And then
But everything he does is contradicting that exact statement. It's like,
I know, trust me. Ridiculous.
Stupid.
All right. Let's talk about something not that, and talk about possibly something even worse. I'll let David take it.
How much did Twitter cut its employee force?
By I think it was more than half. I think.
Well, okay, so Google's not doing as bad, but they're not doing great either. Google and a host of other tech industries, including Microsoft, Google alone is cutting 12,000 jobs, or about 6% of the company. They are in deep doo-doo. Google CEO Sundar, I think is Pichai. I don't know how to spell his last name. Pronounce that. I'm sorry, guys. Has been on a cost-cutting tear over the last 6 months, shutting down various projects inside the company. Stadia's going bye-bye. They're going to start charging for YouTube 4K if they haven't already. I'm sure there's other things that are going to be joining the killed by Google list. Like, they are in trouble. Its latest round of cost cuts. Its largest.
Is it everything above 1080p that they're going to start charging for?
I think it's just 4K. I don't think 1440p is included in that. But if it is, yeah.
I mean, if it is, it is.
It's expensive, so I can understand it.
Yeah.
So its largest layoff ever. Google says it will cut about 12,000 jobs across Google and its parent company Alphabet. The cuts represent about 6% of Google's workforce and match a similar and other recent moves by Microsoft and Amazon. On a blog post, Pacha, whatever, said U.S. employees who are being let go have already been informed. For international employees, the process will take longer due to local laws and practices. He blamed the layoffs on the economy.
They can't just screw people out of their contracts in other countries.
Exactly. He blamed it on the economy, saying we hired for different economic realities than what we face today. Yippee.
Let me just roll my eyes a little bit more.
Yeah. You didn't think that something was gonna bust?
For
like
real.
how long was the pandemic bubble going to really last? All you had to do was look at the stock market, see how fast it dropped like a rock, quickly did an about face, not only recouped all those losses, but then surged to incredible new heights very fast. All he had to do is look at that and be like, this ain't gonna last.
Nope.
So, that's what it is. It's a code red at the company. Apparently, they are in fire breakout mode at this point. Don't think they're in suppression mode. I think they're in breakout mode.
It sucks for people just having been hired only to get laid off.
Yeah,
because that's pretty much who they cut. All the new people.
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And then Microsoft is also doing the same thing. They're saying 10,000 employees will be gone by the end of Q3 2023. The company confirmed, and that says about 221,000 worldwide employees, meaning about 4.5% of its global workforce will be affected. Don't think Microsoft necessarily gave reasons as to yet, but I'm sure that they're also facing some of it being economic downturn, some of it being investments that they have to recoup now that they spent God knows how much money on things like Activision acquisitions and other gaming studios, and God knows what else they've bought over the last 5 years, and it starts catching up. Amazon laid off about 18,000 people. Meta about 11,000, and Tesla saying they were going to reduce about 10%. HP announced 6,000 jobs as well. So between the three companies, Amazon, Google,
we're gonna read all those numbers off again.
That's awful. Okay. We've got 12,000 at Google. 10,000 at Microsoft. 18,000 at Amazon. 6,000 HP. And then Meta was at 11. And then I don't know what 10% of Tesla is, so some arbitrary.
Even without Tesla, that's 57,000 jobs.
Just in one industry. One industry.
And of course, this is going to be blamed on the Democrats when they have nothing to do with it. Just because Joe Biden is in office. I don't agree with the man, but come on, y'all. Get over yourself.
I blame nobody except the company themselves. This is what happens when management takes advantage and takes rewards for when they succeed, but never take
realistically
any repercussions.
None of these companies need to have any layoffs. They make so much money. They could hire, Google could probably hire the entirety of the US at a decent salary and still make money hand over fist.
What, you expect them to only make $9 billion instead of $20 billion? Or
God forbid, right?
Some arbitrary number that I don't know, but it's going to be something like that.
God forbid.
They act like they're losing money hand over fist, like Twitter.
Everybody acts like they're losing money hand over fist. You remember when we were in the pandemic? We both used to work at the same company. We won't mention what it is, but they were having record quarters, and they were paying out some checks. It wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but they were piddly for the profits they were making. They were like $200 or something like that?
Yeah. Something like that.
They were not great. And meanwhile, the CEO is probably raking in millions of dollars in bonuses because of how well the company is doing. Because we were considered an essential business, so we stayed open. During the entire pandemic.
We didn't miss a beat.
No, we didn't.
When were we ever fearful about anything? We were drowning in people who had nothing to do because they were stuffed with stimulus money, couldn't go spend it anywhere else, so they spent it on the one thing that they could, and I won't mention it because it'll give away too much information, but we were drowning, pleading for help, pleading for more workers, And we got what? A couple of extra checks and an extra day off because we feel for our associates. And
Yeah.
we gave a holiday that should be off anyways, but isn't because that would lose too much money back
Right.
to our people, even though we used to be closed for said holiday.
Oh, and don't forget about the gracious time off that they gave basically everybody for the COVID, the 2 weeks. Because if you were fearful for in any way for your family, you could get the 2 weeks off, but then you automatically had to come back.
Even though we were put at risk by being in the
Right.
center of it all with literally everybody because you refused to.
I'm 99% sure I got COVID while I was working there.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I never tested positive for it, but I swear I had it at some point.
You were probably asymptomatic and caught it on the tail end.
Probably. Something.
Yeah, no. Oh, gotta love those corporate people.
Do we? Do we though?
No, no, we don't. Oh, which is why I'm not sad that Apple is decreasing Tim Cook's uh, pay package by 40%.
The hell you say?
Right. It looks like it was his idea at a shareholder meeting because of how terrible their company is doing. I gotta look up what they made last year.
For those who are going to say you guys can't be saying that a 40% pay cut isn't anything to worry about. 40% of my pay would be devastating. We're talking targeting compensation of 49 million versus 84 million. Oh my god, he lost $40 million. Whatever shall he do with the other $50 million that he has
Right.
for 1 year? Ugh.
So they're mad because the increase wasn't big enough, it looks like. $274 billion in 2020. $365 billion in 2021. And a measly $394 billion in 2022.
You know what? Here's an idea. Stop releasing the same fucking phone for 5 years straight! Why does anybody want to buy one? You didn't change anything. At some point, you're going to saturate the market because you pissed off the rest of us to the point we won't touch it.
Mm-mm.
You don't need an iPhone every freaking year when it's the same thing. And people are finally starting to wake up.
For real.
It only took about 14 generations of iPhone to do it, but they're finally starting to wake up. Why should I give up my
when
13?
Steve Jobs was alive, they iterated on it way more often.
The iPhone 1 looked nothing like the 2, which looked nothing like the 4, which looked nothing like the 6. You get to the 8, and especially the 10, because by the time you got to the 10, you lost your home button. What is different between that and now?
It's upgraded software, a better processor, some more RAM. That's about it.
But why do you need more
Maybe
RAM and a better
camera,
processor when you're still running the same? Your old phone, to their credit, I'm not criticizing this at all. Your old phones still run the latest software. So why do you need more memory and more processing speed if you're not taking advantage of it? When the other phones can do it.
Phone must go vroom vroom more than last phone went vroom vroom.
No, give me a fucking bigger battery. That lasts longer.
Right.
You're optimize the shit out of it for efficiency. I don't need more power. Give me efficiency, damn it. Mm-hmm. When a phone can go 4 days and then you need to add more features to it, then talk to me about making it go vroom vroom.
For real.
But you can't even do that.
I miss the days where I could leave my phone off the charger for a week and plug it in when it had 5% overnight, and then I could go another week without charging it.
I can't do that. I can't do 1 day. Well,
Yeah, for real.
I could if I stretched it and didn't use it.
Right. But what would be the point of
But
having
what's
the
the
phone if you
point?
didn't use it?
Exactly. So if I want to use it for any length of time, I can't go a day and a half or 2 days.
Nope.
It comfortably gets me through the day. I'm
The last
comfortably
phone,
at
the
40.
last phone that I had that got me more than a day was the Motorola Z Play
Yep.
with the battery mod on the back.
Yep.
Because that thing, I tested it one time just to see how long it would get me. It lasted me 3 days, but that was with a giant battery pack strapped to the back.
I haven't plugged this thing in I don't know how many months. And
Oh my god!
it's got full battery.
Oh my god! That's crazy.
I don't use it anymore because I don't have a phone that'll take advantage of it on a daily
Right.
use. And yeah, I got the other one, but
If Motorola made
a decent
really
phone.
really good phones that you could still use the snap feature on, and they made a good case that you could put on the entire thing, I would spend my money so fast because of how long it lasted. Don't get me wrong, the other mods were cool, but the fact that I could have my phone last for 3 days without having to even worry about the battery was the greatest thing in the world.
Yep.
Soon as that thing went down to 20%, you had that little battery pack turn itself on, and it kept you going for for basically forever in current phone rhetoric. It's ridiculous.
Meanwhile, I've only been on the phone for a total of 12 hours and I'm at 48%. Granted, I've used it a lot today. I've been hitting the TikTok pretty hard today. I'm not
Yeah,
complaining about it. It
same
comfortably
here.
gets me through the day, but it sure as hell ain't going to get through tonight and then tomorrow
Nope.
without going on
I'm
the
at
charger.
41%, and I've been doing the same thing all day.
So give me something that lasts 4 days.
Then we'll
Innovate.
talk. Right.
But you're not going to
This
sell
is this is
anything.
not just a criticism of Apple
Oh,
either.
absolutely not.
Apple is one of the worst offenders probably because they I don't even think they pay attention to the battery. As long as the phone powers on and it lasts for almost a day, they don't give a shit. But and Android phone makers are a little bit better about that, but even still, you're still going to have to plug in, even on the best of phones, you're going to have to plug in at least every 36 hours.
Unless it just sits there and does nothing.
Right.
Which,
Which again,
what's the
what would be the
point?
point of using the darn thing?
What's the point?
All this to say, we're not sad about Tim Cook having to give up 40% of his salary.
Nope.
Boo hoo.
Nope. None of those numbers.
Just ridiculous. Anyway, let's keep it going with the last subject of the night.
So, speaking of people that want to become Apple, this is a two-part topic. This is the side of both coins. We have Samsung, who is deploying a injunction on displays that leave repair technicians worried. So, Samsung may have found a way to strike a hefty blow in the United States right to repair movement that is struggling as it is. Um, it approached the International Trade Commission requesting an investigation into the importation of third-party OLED displays for independent repair stores. If the ITC finds in Samsung's favor, it would, in the words of Louis Rossman, one of the biggest right to repair activists out there,
Mm-hmm.
fire a kill shot onto the entire repair industry. Put simply, Samsung claims that it creates AMOLED displays for mobile devices and that those displays are covered by a number of patents. But factories in China and elsewhere are, according to Samsung, churning out similar screens that infringe upon those patents, and that these screens are often imported by third-party repair businesses in the US, as a cheaper option than buying authorized parts directly, in this case from Samsung.
Maybe if you didn't have to spend an arm and a leg to buy a Samsung screen, you could get a genuine part.
But we have to make a profit on our phone. We need we
They're almost as bad as Apple is with the people. Samsung people are crazy, like for real. I know people who will go out and buy a Samsung phone every single year. Granted, Samsung iterates on their phones a lot more than Apple does year over year, but it's basically still just the same phone.
they've done arguably way more than Apple has. We've got
I
two
will give
flip
them that. Yeah,
phones.
Flip is
Arguably,
the cool one.
they've done more, but at the same time, you are absolutely correct. They are just as poisoned as Apple, which is exactly why I say they're trying to be Apple. They are the Android version of Apple. And that's
100%.
sad when Apple enthusiasts basically say, well, I don't want a Samsung. Like, there's no other freaking Android option out there.
Right.
So, yeah, they kind of deserve that tagline. In the meantime, I did say this was a two-sided coin. They are at least doing more than Apple has in the past, offering with iFixit. They partnered with iFixit and launched an official repair program last August and is now getting support for a few more devices. Samsung says its self-repair program now includes the Samsung Galaxy S22 family and some laptops, the ProBook 15 and the ProBook 360 15. Yeah, at least they're trying, but at the same time that they're trying to offer their genuine expensive option, they're going after anything and everything else that is a competitive stance against them.
Right.
And blaming it on patents, because we have to protect our patents.
Gotta make that money.
Gotta make that cheddar somehow. So, yeah,
All
Samsung
right.
is Apple.
All right, let's get into our discussion topic here. We have The Last of Us on HBO Max that I watched. Everybody's been going crazy about it. So I figure why not watch it, right? First episode, the second episode came out on the day that we're recording this, so obviously we're not going to be able to get to that. But the second episode has been out for about a week at this point. So we're a little late on it, but you know what? We're a little late on everything, so who cares?
It's just par for the course.
Yeah, at this point. Okay, so episode 1 is called When You're Lost in the Darkness. In 2003, a mass fungal infection sparks a global pandemic. Joe flees with his daughter Sarah and brother Tommy. Sarah is killed by a soldier. 20 years later, Joe lives in the Boston quarantine zone managed by the Federal Disaster Response Agency, FEDRA, working as a smuggler with his partner Tess. When Tommy fails to contact them from Wyoming, they buy a car battery from local dealer Robert. They are double-crossed when he sells it to the Fireflies, a rebel group in open opposition against Fedra. Attempting to retrieve it, Dolan and Tess discover Marlene, the Fireflies' leader, who begs them to take Ellie to the old state house in exchange for a working truck. While sneaking out, the three are caught by a soldier who tests them for infection, revealing Ellie to be positive. Joel kills the soldier while Ellie claims to be immune. So, if you haven't played the game, I know David hasn't. This is basically following the plot of the game.
Did you get it?
But, except for the few, like the minutes. So, where the game starts is when Sarah wakes up at the nighttime and all the crap is going on. Okay. Everything before that is not in the game.
Okay, but pretty close.
But the show still manages to make the story its own. You can follow the plot beats, certainly. Maybe you won't be as surprised as some people when shit happens, but honestly, it's good. It's real good. Okay, so I want you to talk about the points in the episode that you found the most intriguing.
Well, so obviously something was going down pretty fast
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember her name, but the elderly woman that looked to be suffering from a really bad case of dementia gave it away pretty fast when she had this weird look, and I thought I saw something like move in
Oh
her
yeah, no,
mouth.
she was going all crazy in the background.
So that was a pretty good tell that something was going on. They also had, but what was strange is they had these things. The scene in the, I guess, the jewelry shop. The shop worker's wife, I'm assuming, came in, rushed Sarah out
Mm-hmm.
of the thing and told her go home, and then she shuts all the shades. But it's several hours later that we actually find out, oh god, something's going down, and something's going down fast. I'm surprised there wasn't a little bit of hint before that, like some like national media outlet or something. Like, she's watching TV. You'd think she'd be aware that something was going on. Joel gets called to bail his brother out.
Okay. So think about it this way, right? We all heard about COVID
Uh huh.
and coming from China and everything. Did you really think it was going to be as big of a deal as it was?
Absolutely not. Not at first.
Right. This
So,
is this is COVID on an accelerated timeline.
oh, very, very much accelerated. Very much accelerated.
So just imagine COVID. The when we hear from COVID, it's like the first 8 hours of the day, and then you kind of start to hear smatterings of it throughout the rest of the day. That's the next 8 hours, and then when she wakes up, or when she wakes up, is when COVID hits the U.S. and spreads throughout the entire continent.
Yeah,
It's basically what it is.
pretty much. So anyways, inklings that something's going on, the dog freaks out, all that. Kind of knew something was happening, but didn't really give you any idea. Fast forward a little bit, the whole escaping Austin, all the planes, all the just oh my god, it went downhill so fast. It's like, how could something turn on a dime like that? It was like a freaking bomb had gone off and everybody was suffering from radiation poisoning
Mm-hmm.
instantly, or something like that. Or something killed a mass amount of people instantly, like some kind of EMP spike or something. I don't even know. Like a biological weapon, which, I mean, we're pretty close to that. And it instantly kills people like that because planes are falling out of the sky and everything. And it's like, holy crap, what is this? I am so intrigued because I didn't watch anything before this that had anything to do with pandemic stuff. I didn't watch anything with Walking or anything else with zombies. This is like the first like pandemic show that I'm watching, and it's like, oh my god, I think I feel like I've missed a lot of stuff now. Maybe this show is just really, really good,
It is. It is very good.
and that's why I'm
I am
torn
personally
into it
not a
that
fan of The
fast.
Walking Dead. I don't know if you would be either. It's a it starts out as kind of a faithful portrayal of the comics, but it veers off way
Go off left
off to the
field.
side real quick. This is as faithful as you can get without being a direct rip of the video game. Basically,
One of my
there are points
coworkers,
that were different. Like in the game, a plane doesn't fall out of the sky,
yeah,
but I mean, you got to keep it. You got to keep it fresh somehow. If you just directly rip the game, cut like shot for shot, the people that are excited for it aren't probably going to be as excited for it anymore. You
no,
know?
they're really not because they're just gonna know everything. And it's like, well, I don't.
Right.
I'm not seeing anything new, which would be like heartbreaking to those people. So
Mm-hmm.
you definitely got to spice it up for them, make it entertaining to watch.
Right. Right.
Um, so fast forward past all that, and we meet Elle, who
Ellie.
is it? Is it actually Ellie?
It's Ellie.
Okay, so we meet Ellie. That's good.
What?
That's
Okay.
good that
Hold
they.
on. You skipped past something. What did you think about Sarah getting killed? Did that shock you?
Oh, Sarah getting killed? Absolutely not.
No.
Nope.
Did you know about that beforehand
Nope.
or?
Nope. It's heartbreaking. Don't get me wrong, but the minute stuff was going down like that, I knew that somebody's not making out of this alive. And the way, I don't want to say this is her fault, but the way that she did not pick up on anything at all, she was not afraid of anything at first. She was stupid, in other words.
Right.
So, logic being, by her actions, if somebody's going to die, she's going to be the first one to die.
That's
Because
fair.
she's
That is fair.
this is stereotypical. Don't go into the woods. There's a freaking murderer with a knife out there. You're gonna die. She followed that stereotypical path. So if anybody was gonna die,
fair.
it was gonna be her. The means by how she died is definitely way more tragic than it should have been. Like, what did they know? Like, this should have been all brand new information. What the heck did they know that they instantly
knew,
were like?
They knew what was going on. They didn't want to. They didn't want to take any chances. That's what it was.
Like, jeez, because he was like, oh, okay, I got orders to kill. I guess I don't know who gave these orders. Probably some kind of martial law being placed into effect, direct order from
definitely.
the president or somebody high up in the cabinet.
Just imagine, right? You know what's going on. You don't know the mode of transmission yet, so you don't know what to look for. These people could be infected, and you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Ellie. Important person, kind of either suggest two things. That she is what she is and is, spoiler, immune, or appears to be immune, or at least has a high, I don't know if she's immune yet, but she's at least got a very, very high level of resistance. Like, there's a good shot that she could last a very long time and finally die, or she actually is immune. Or some kind of huge political figure, its daughter, or something like that. There's only two reasons to be that important. So I wasn't surprised to find out at the end she was infected. But yet, clearly has been this way for a very long time. Because I think they mentioned like 3 weeks of these 1, 2, 3, count to 10 tests, and she's been the same this entire time. Or something like that. How long did they say that they were holding her?
I don't remember. It was a while.
It was a while. Clearly doesn't track with anything else we've seen, because we've seen people change like that. And then they even have posters that said, if infected at this location, you've got like minutes. If infected in this location, you've got like hours. If you're infected in this location, you've got like 2 to 3 days tops before it all goes south.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Very interesting. I can't wait to find out what the hell this shit is. Where'd it come from?
You're gonna like it. I'm fine with zombies. I'm not like the biggest zombie person or whatever. This is different enough and realistic enough that it draws me in. It's really, really, really good.
Funguses are scary.
Huh?
Funguses are scary.
Oh yeah, 100%.
How weird was it to hear Joel's voice this entire time and be like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually get to see his face. You hear the Mandalorian, but you actually get to see Pedro's face.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh my, I was like, oh, I know that voice. I don't recognize the person because, damn it, all I get to see is a helmet. Mm-hmm. But I know that voice.
Okay, so what would you give us, or what would you give it out of 5 fungus-infested people?
Right now, from what I've seen, I don't think there's anything I didn't like. It may be like a 5 out of 5. Which is crazy. Honestly, I've never rated anything that positively before. First shot.
I think I'm with you.
Like, oh my god.
The only thing that I could put up there with that is the 3rd season of The Orville. Not all of the episodes, but a lot of them were perfect for me. This is, without a doubt, probably one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is definitely the best first episode thing I've seen in a very long time.
100%. I would agree totally and completely.
Like,
I can't remember the last time I watched something that I didn't have some issues with. It was good. I was willing to keep going, but
yeah,
this is like top tier. It's so
100%.
good.
Especially for something for me, because Ben knows how hard it is to get me to branch out at times. Something getting me out of my comfort zone, or at least not necessarily a comfort zone, but you got to get me out of the bubble sometimes.
Right.
Everything else we've watched for this has had some kind of tangible meaning somewhere. All the Marvel Universe stuff obviously has a connection to our friendship. Star Wars, all that stuff. And there's other things that I like because I like, but it's been over like entire series of things. This is completely brand new material and it hooked me instantly. And I don't think that's happened in I don't know how long. Probably a decade or more.
Like I said,
So
I can't
good.
remember the last time. The last time I watched something and enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed this. That was like a first episode of something.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So we're on the same page, 5 out of 5. I am excited to watch this next episode. I'm probably gonna end up watching it like tomorrow or something.
What did you think of my response to you when you said I want to watch this?
I don't even remember what you said. Hold on.
I was like lame.
He said, "Yo, yeah." I didn't even realize that's who you're talking about.
I was like
And then you
lame.
watched it, and it was the best thing you'd ever seen in your life.
And I didn't give him a hint either. I was hoping he saw that. I guess he didn't see it. I was hoping he saw the lane.
I thought you were referencing the other part of the text that I
Oh,
sent
game
you.
night?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, it's like lame. Like Last of Us, I've already heard like 2 or 3 people mention it, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. Some other like massive TV hit that I'm never gonna watch because I don't freaking care. And one of my coworkers, as soon as I told him what I was watching, it was like, "Oh, dude, did you?" He asked me if I played it. I was like, "Isn't it just on PS5 or something like that? PlayStation at the bare minimum?" And he said something about along the lines of that.
I think they're releasing it on PC. The State of Play PlayStation from this year. Yep, Last of Us Part 1 on Steam, March 3rd.
Oh, good. So we might. Is it going to be like a co-op thing, or is it just going to be?
Probably. No, it's single player.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually at this point I don't think I care. I'll probably play it anyways.
I'm going to have to go back and finish it. I never actually finished the darn game, so part of it is going to be a complete surprise to me.
You gonna hold off until it comes out on PC?
I already have it.
I know you do. Are you gonna hold off on finishing it, or are you just gonna go ahead and do it?
I might. I'll probably hold off just so we can talk about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. It's just it was super amazing. He was like, dude, yes, I already love that show. What you think? And I was like, so far it's pretty good. And that was just before we got to the Ellie scene. He goes, what part are you? And I was like, the Fireflies are talking about taking that one girl out of the QZ in Boston. Like, none of it really made sense to me yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing. Just amazing. Love it.
It's very, very good. You're gonna get to experience it a little bit better looking than I am because I've only got the PS4 version, but it's still gonna be beautiful.
When
Last of Us came out on PS3, dude.
3?
Yeah.
Oh.
They did a remastered version for 4, and they just remastered it again for PlayStation 5 because they did a sequel, which
Dang.
I still haven't played.
Dang. Well, see, I never got PlayStation 3. After PS2, I never
The
got PlayStation
PS5 is the
again.
first PlayStation version that I have ever owned in my entire life. I'm glad that it's backwards compatible with the PS4 because if it wasn't, there wouldn't be anything to play on it. And I've missed so much on PlayStation, it's not even funny.
Kind of their own fault.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Kind of their own fault. Until they did the backwards compatibility on 5, they shot themselves every time. And the PS3 was so dang difficult to freaking code for as it
Program for it,
was.
yeah.
So good luck emulating that crap anywhere else. That's what shot them in the foot with the backwards compatibility as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because they shot themselves in the foot. Wasn't it some kind of like cell architecture that they used?
It was so that it was the cell architecture that it was. That's what it was called. It was more like a supercomputer CPU than it was a regular PC CPU,
Okay.
which Microsoft ended up sticking with.
Probably for a reason.
Right? There's
Probably
a
for a
reason that
reason.
you can play Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Series X games on the newest generation of consoles.
Because they didn't change anything.
Right. It might not be 100% perfect. It might not be 100% of their back catalog. But the fact that you can play 4 generations worth of games on one console is ridiculous.
Yep. And they didn't change the control schemes very much. It's basically, if you, besides the original Duke controller, once you got to the original S configuration
Mm-hmm.
controller, yeah, there were some changes to the 360. You got rid of the white and black buttons, and you added the bumpers.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, it's the same dang controller.
Basically.
Granted, this thing is a marvel. I was playing the original Xbox 360 controller earlier to play a DVD. I picked it up, was like, oh god, I forgot how bad this felt. I forgot it was so smooth and slippery. It's like, oh no! I
And the thing
forgot
is
how
that
bad this was.
that controller was a marvel when it came out.
Absolutely, and I've used it all this time up until whenever I got this thing, and that's the
For
first
real.
time I picked up the
I couldn't I
other.
can't I couldn't go back.
Nope, couldn't.
There's no way.
Not even going to attempt. You know what I found
Nope.
out?
Hmm.
Didn't realize it. The triggers have vibration too.
Yeah, they do. They're
It's
great.
so cool. I got on Forza 3 the other day and finished off the game finally. I got to the final showcase. And the whole time I was playing it was like, what is this weird, and I finally figured, it's like, oh my god, the triggers vibrate.
It's force feedback. It's so cool.
I was amazed. It's like, oh wow. This is the
They do
little
that.
things
They
I've
do
been
that on the
missing.
PS5 too with a lot of the games. The controller is so sensitive. Like you can it's got tiny vibration motors. So even if you're just like walking in the snow in a game, you can feel it. It is so immersive.
That's so cool.
It's great.
That's so cool. All these things that I thought were gimmicky until I felt it, and it's like, oh wow, that
Right? Right?
that actually makes a huge difference.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, 360 controller, I shall never use you unless I have to again.
Let's hope you don't have to ever again.
The only game that's worth playing on there anymore is maybe the old Gears games that I can't play on the PS on the
PC.
PC.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That would be the only thing that I'd want to. But even then, if you got a new Xbox console, you could just emulate it, and you wouldn't have to use a 360.
I know. The fact that the last
That
console I have is a 360 is depressing in itself. I never got any of the ones. If I'm
nope.
going to get anything, it's going to be PlayStation. I need to get a new Xbox One for my sister, though. She really wants one. And now that I've played with the dang controller, I kind of want one now, too.
Well, you know what? You buy her a used Xbox One. You get yourself the Series X or the Series S. That way you can. Well, it'd have to be the Series X to I think to backwards be able to play your old games on it. But even still, those are at least in stock now and at a normal price.
Normal
So you
price.
save up a little bit for that. You can play Gears all day on it.
I might. I might. Love that
Hell,
game
it might
too.
even look a little bit better.
God, remember how dark it was? Couldn't see shit. It's amazing we did as well as we did.
I know. That's because we were close enough to when we were still playing it that it didn't make as much of a difference. I mean, granted, we were still a couple years off. I was off of it longer than you were, but even still, it's like the console that we grew up with. So we could get used to it, and we did. We played through those 3 games like there was no tomorrow.
Yep.
They were so fun.
But I go back to GTA, I get sick.
Yeah, no.
I can't. I
I
can't.
feel like if they ported those games to PC, right? They would make so much money and nobody would be able to go back to it.
I don't know why they don't. Halo Chief Master Collection was amazing.
Yeah, for real.
Why would you not do that?
You don't even have to update the graphics. I mean, the Master Chief Collection showed that. There was 1 and 2 that had the updated graphics because they did the remastered versions before they got the Master Chief Collection out.
Mm-hmm.
You play through 3, you play through ODST, you play through 4. It's still the original graphics on the 360. And it still looks good.
Yep. Loved it. Loved every minute of it.
The higher frame rate was probably what helped. Okay, before we go off on another random tangent.
We've gone off too many of those.
Yeah, for real. Okay, anyway, our trailer section. If you guys haven't seen it before, we're gonna watch a trailer and we're gonna give a rating based on the trailer itself. We're not going to give not gonna clue into any other context unless it's like a bigger part of a larger franchise. We may give context to it. Either way, our ratings are see it in the theaters, wait for rental, wait for review, and wouldn't see it. So I don't know. I don't think we can get any simpler than that. First trailer up, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I believe this is the final trailer.
You're an interesting man, Scott Lang. You're an Avenger. You have a daughter. But you've lost a lot of time, like me. We can help each other with that. Who are you? I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want. What's that? Time.
You cannot trust him.
I don't care who this guy is. I just lost so much. He can give us a second chance.
You may not want her to watch this.
We had a deal.
You thought you could win.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. I'm sorry, Cassie.
Okay. My big question that came up during this is so we got a little bit of detail about the quantum realm in Endgame, right?
A little bit.
How he was stuck in there for such a short period of time and ended up coming out after the 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to explain that away with this? Because clearly they're going to come out at the same point of time that they got sucked into, right? Otherwise, they would have to do a gigantic time leap in the MCU, which is not going to happen again.
I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. And this is where they have one huge advantage. time travel in itself has been explained in so many different ways that anybody can come up with a new interpretation of it and not follow anybody else's rules. And it works to some people's advantage and it works to other people's disadvantage. This is something nobody has a freaking clue about. Quantum mechanics is like so beyond the normal person's comprehension skills that you can say, well, it worked this way this time and it worked this way that time. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I think this is where they have the advantage in that, because they can just make up no rule and somebody won't understand it, and they can make up 5,000 rules for how it works and nobody would understand it.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So they can do whatever they want with it.
Okay, so that being said, what's your rating for this one?
I mean, coming off the context that we just discussed with the whole Phase 4 and being very, very careful not to try to overhype anything, I would say, and this is shocking for an MCU movie, wait for a rental. Or possibly wait for a review.
That's fair.
Which is awful.
I think I'm a little bit more optimistic than you, because I'm still going see it in the theaters. 100%.
See?
Until I watch the worst Marvel movie that I have ever seen in my entire life. The series are one thing. The movies I can still stand for now. Until they reach the bottom of the barrel, which, considering 100 and some odd years of comics history, you would think they wouldn't. Nevertheless, I don't know. I'd have to stick with it. The series I'm still less excited about. The movies, the trailers that I'm seeing, Black Panther, by the way, I know you haven't seen it. Fantastic.
What are you talking about? We watched it together.
Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
We didn't watch it together.
We watched it together when you were up here. You were falling asleep half the time.
We did, didn't we? I'm so stupid.
Probably because you were falling asleep.
Yep. I got it confused with another movie that I saw down here. Anyway, that was great.
That was great. The two movies before that, not so much. Which is why I really don't want to say wait for a review, because it's kind of harsh. Based off this trailer, I would see it in the theater. So if we go by rules alone, based off the trailer, theater.
I did say
based
that
off experience,
could have added context to it, though.
Based off experience, it's got to be downgraded for at least a rental. Disney Plus, whenever it hits Disney Plus.
I mean, that's probably where we're going to be watching anyway, realistically. But either way,
yeah, realistically, but
either way, I would agree with you, or I would have to say wait for or see it in the theaters. I'm excited by this trailer. I am.
I want to see what it does. I want to see what Kang does.
Yes,
what
absolutely.
That means.
Hopefully, this will get us more excited for Loki season 2. I'm down for that.
That too.
Okay, next trailer is for a series, Invincible season 2.
Pretty good. Look at that. Not bad, Mark. You're not just invincible, you're also like Earth's best food cooking man. Pretty impressive.
What? Oh, no, I just worked here. I don't actually make the food.
Next time also, constructive criticism, do not put these green things in here. These are gross. When are you going back out there? The world needs more Invincible.
Oh, it's coming, okay? Hey!
Yeah, I know, but like a specific date would be nice.
Oh, but okay, fine. The world will get more Invincible in, late 2023.
All right, okay, I'll take it. Late 2023. Perfect, sure. So 2023, is that like one of your years? You know, our planets, they all have different systems of keeping track of time. Like, they go around their stars at different speeds, but the way you said that number makes it sound soon. Is it soon? I really want it to be soon.
So that gave no context into the actual show whatsoever,
It
but
gave
I would have to say
no
that
context.
that was one of the better teaser trailers that gave no context that we've ever seen on this show. I loved it so much. It was so funny.
It was funny. I think I'm with you. I think this is the best no context, absolutely trash trailer that I've seen. Because, unlike Orville, it actually makes me want to watch it.
Right.
Because
right.
if that was funny and I laughed at that, then it gives me pretty good hopes that the actual series would also be just as funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, given that I absolutely had no context to it, this is not fair to it at all. Wait for a rental.
I would, based on a rating system, see it in the theaters, 100%.
Okay.
You need to watch this show. You will enjoy it.
Didn't we watch the season 1 trailer at some point?
We did.
I was gonna say, I feel
we
like
did,
we've
and
seen
you
this
still never
before.
watched it.
Put it on my list at some point this year, okay?
You need to watch it before season 2 comes out, because
Well,
when season
it
2
says
comes out,
late
I am going to make
2023.
you watch it.
So I've got
And we are
plenty of
watching-
time.
Listen, we're watching it for the show. Okay, you got me?
Hit me up in the summer when all the everything that started after winter premiere, because not everything started yet. When all that stuff closes out in May, hit me up.
Okay, fine. That's
Because
fair.
I got too much on the plate right now.
Well, I've got another one to put on your plate. Mandalorian Season 3.
Oh, this
Let's
one we're
watch
not
the trailer.
waiting for.
Our people are scattered, like stars in the galaxy. What are we? What do we stand for? Being a Mandalorian's not just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy. That way, you'll never be lost. I'm going to Mandalore so that I may be forgiven for my transgressions.
May the Force be with you!
This is the way.
Something dangerous happening out there. And by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it'll be too late.
Hang on, kid. This is the way.
That put a big smile on my face, especially
Finally,
at
we
the
get to
end.
see Baby Yoda kick some booty. Yes! Come on, Papa Disney, give it to me. Let me watch The Mandalorian.
Oh my goodness. I have a new appreciation for this out of the strangest place possible. The Clone Wars. Specifically
Really?
the television series.
Well, yeah, duh.
Well, for those...
Next to nobody watched the movie.
Well, I mean...
I saw it in theaters, and let me tell you, it was underwhelming, to say the least. It was Star Wars is for kids. Don't get me wrong, but I was a kid when I watched it. It was still underwhelming.
Fair enough. I don't know. It didn't have any context or the backstory, and they haven't done a very good job of it in The Mandalorian yet either. For Mandalore,
They're assuming that you've seen everything Star Wars up until this point,
which is a huge problem.
right?
So now that I finally finished that conquest, I have a new appreciation for this show, and now I'm kind of glad that I did watch, especially the last few episodes, because that's really where you get the most context of the Clone Wars
100%.
before you get to season 3 of Mandalorian. It looks amazing. I would 100% see this in the theaters. Obviously, we can't, but looks amazing.
Yep, I'm with you. 100% would see in the theaters. There's no other option here for me.
Absolutely not.
All right, last trailer of the evening, Oppenheimer.
We imagine a future. And our imaginings horrify us. They won't fear it until they understand it. And they won't understand it until they've used it. I don't know if we can be trusted with such a weapon. But we have no choice. Is anyone ever going to tell the truth about what's happening here?
This has got me excited, not only because it's a Christopher Nolan movie, but because of all the actors that are in it. Did you see who I saw in there?
Robert
Who? What are you talking about?
Robert Downey Jr.?
Oh yeah, he's in this movie. Who else?
Well, I don't know who else you'd be talking about. Matt Damon, maybe?
Nope. Drake and Josh Peck
Oh,
is in this movie.
no, I didn't see that. Where was
He was in one shot in the trailer.
Oh, well,
Hold up, let me see if I can find it for you.
my bad. Emily, saw her in there.
Go to 127.
Oh, the guy pushing the button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that would have been really easy to miss. He's aged, not in a bad way. I just haven't seen much of him in a great many
He's mostly
a year.
He's mostly been on like TikTok and stuff.
Oh,
So
has
we've
he?
got Cillian Murphy, who's a regular Christopher Nolan collaborator, along with Matt Damon, because he was in it in Interstellar. And Gary Oldman, I guess. Jesus. Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Kenneth Branagh, Jack Quaid, who's in The Boys, Rami Malek, who did Bohemian Rhapsody, Casey Affleck.
That and the robot show that I can't think of right now.
Oh, iRobot, yeah.
Yes, that.
There's so many giant people in here. It's ridiculous. I'm so excited for this movie. I would see it in the theaters 100%.
If not movies, definitely rental.
That's fair. I'm still a big Christopher Nolan guy, even despite the misstep that was Tenet.
I feel like
I still never got
I
that
feel
movie.
like he could persuade me to watch this type of movie too. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I could. All right. Well, that is going to be the end of this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you're on YouTube, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Leave a comment. If you are listening to us, be sure to leave a rating on whatever podcasting platform you happen to be listening on. And, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.